Okay, so we're into the Petawawa River now. I had to erase all the earlier videos that we shot because I was shooting at a much higher resolution and frame rate than I thought, and I ran out of memory space on my card really quick. I've only got about an hour, it turns out, at 720p, an hour worth of footage on this thing. So here we are. We just finished the 130 meter portage on the Petawawa River. We came in at Magnetawan this morning. Just doing a quick recap. Came into Magnetawan this morning, into Hambone, down into Daisy, and then now we've come up into the Petawawa, and we're going to go across the Petawawa into Misty Lake. Coming off the portage, can't leave this part out, coming off the portage into Daisy, through a very strange series of circumstances that happened in very quick succession. I ended up neck deep in the water, so complete wardrobe change, and now we've got some clothes hung up drying out. And here we are on the other side of the falls, just headed down the Petawawa. This is very nice, actually. Kind of pretty here. We stopped and had a quick trail lunch by the falls, and now the sun's coming out, so hopefully some of my clothes will dry out. My jacket was on when I fell in, which is the only real bummer. So I'm really hopeful that we can get to a campsite and get a fire started and hopefully get that dried out as much as possible before we go to bed tonight. So here we are, Petawawa River. We'll maybe check in again when we get to the next portage. Okay, so here we are, go to the left hand. Here we are on the Petawawa River. We've never paddled the Petawawa before, we've never been here before. And this is exactly what we were hoping it would be. We paddled the Humber River back home in Toronto as often as possible, and this is actually even better than that to me. So gotta do a quick adjust. There we go. This is beautiful. I'll turn around, you can see this is beautiful. Nice narrow, switch to your left hand. Nice, beautiful, narrow river. Almost like it's really more of a creek than a river, I guess, but just beautiful. Beautiful day. The sun's come out now. The clouds they're out, but they mostly cleared off of the overhead, moved to the sides for the sun to come through. So hopefully some of my wet clothes will get dried off. This is just beautiful. Nice, calm creek paddling. Sun's out, very little breeze. Jasmine's working her butt off, paddling hard there because I'm being lazy and holding a GoPro. Love you. Hey Joe. What do you got to say, Joey? Anything? All right. I think that it's based on the map, this goes on for quite a while yet, so I'd say we've got another half hour, 45 minutes of this before we get to at least a half an hour before we get to the next portage. And I'm hoping it's like this all the way to Misty, because this is just this is our ideal paddling terrain for us. We love these nice narrow rivers and creeks. Beautiful day. Check in again, maybe on the other side of the portage. Okay, so we're at our campsite on Misty Lake, and I'll give a little more of an update here in a second, but most importantly I wanted to show that, if you can see it, maybe from this angle more, Jasmine felt so strongly about the stench of my socks when we got here that she just had to burn it. She couldn't handle the stench anymore. It was just too stinky for her, so it was time for it to go in the drink. And this one's got a hole burnt through it now too, so yep, right through the toe. So here he goes. Jeremy's socks going up in flames. At least we're getting some warmth out of them before they are completely gone. So we get to Misty Lake off the 1 kilometer portage at 5:30. Yep. So, and we got to our campsite at about 6 o'clock. We found a campsite down in the south end of the lake. It's out on a point a little more than we usually like, but there's the way the fire pit built's really cool with some rocks covering it, shielding it from the wind. We've got a tarp up over the pit area. We've got a tarp up over the thunderbox. Tents up. Got a little bit of wood split. It's rained here a bunch recently, so there's not a lot of wood, and plus by the time I got tarps up and things it was kind of dark, so I just split what I could find really quick, and hopefully if it doesn't rain tonight and tomorrow morning I'll be able to go on the hunt for some more firewood tomorrow, and we can have a little more wood tomorrow night. So dinner's, what time is it now?
20 after 8.
Alright, so almost 8:30. Dinner's almost ready. What are we having for dinner tonight, honey?
We are having
Sweet and sour
chicken.
Cool. Sweet and sour chicken. And I think you're having some tea.
Yep.
I'm just gonna stick to water. I'm pretty parched, but not really cold. The fire's good and warm for a little while yet. I gotta put a little more wood on there, but yeah, I think we'll keep the fire going for another half hour, maybe an hour, and then call it a night, because I'm pretty beat. I think you're probably pretty beat too. That 1K portage really took it out of me. Oh, after falling in the lake earlier today, and we also got off a portage too early. There was a 430 meter portage coming across the Petawawa we thought was finished, and then wasn't finished. And so we put back into the river about halfway through the portage and had to do a whole bunch of carryovers and shoot some rapids and all kind of shenanigans. We made it through safe and sound. No more falling in the water. A few close calls.
It was an adventure.
It was an adventure. And adventures suck while you're having them, but they're fun to talk about after. So hunker down here tonight and tomorrow, all day and tomorrow night, and then get up Sunday morning, and we're going to go halfway back. We're going to go back across the 1K portage and then do the 2.5 kilometer portage up into Queer Lake. And then I think there's a short, like 100 meter portage or so from Queer into Little Trout, where we'll stay Sunday night, and then Monday we'll get up and go back through Bice Lake and to the home stretch back into Hambone, into Magnetawan, and back to the van. So we'll check in again tomorrow. Okay, so we skipped a day. We didn't actually do any videotaping at all yesterday. It was quite a nice day, except last night in the night we didn't think it was going to rain, but it rained quite a bit last night during the night. So here we are on Queer Lake. Oh, I just got the last one before. There's 3 loons here. 2 of them just went down under, presumably to get. Oh, there's one. What kind of loons?
They're going through their winter phase.
What kind of loons are those, hon?
Common loon.
It's the common loon, but apparently they change color in the fall. They start to change to black and white. For what are they?
Gray and white.
Gray and white. What color are they in the summer?
They're black and white.
Black and white?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. So I guess they changed their color scheme a bit in the winter, in the
Their
fall for the
heads
winter.
go gray in the winter,
Huh.
when in summer they're completely black.
Cool. We've seen a few of those loons on this trip. Joey's just taking a nap. Like I said, it rained quite a bit last night during the night. We didn't expect any rain. Of course, I had my wet clothes from my little incident coming into Daisy Lake that were still wet, hung up on our clothesline, and those were they were about halfway dried out. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, you're going right. They were halfway dried out last night by the time we went to bed, but fully soaked again this morning. I think the rain, what time do you think the rain started, hon?
Last night?
Yeah,
I don't know.
probably about, I'd guess about 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah, it was.
It was about 2 or 3 in the morning when the rain started, and it went on and off. I don't really know when the rain stopped. I guess about 8 o'clock when it stopped, and then our campsite, really great campsite. Unfortunately, I just didn't think to do a quick video tour of it. Really great site. I really like that site. The only downside to that one was there was no really flat spot to put the tent, but otherwise, really good site.
We've had worse for Smoky.
Yeah, we've had worse. Very good, like it's tucked back, excellent shelter from the wind and whatnot. That part was really great. Really nice campsite last 2 days, and it was good. We had most of the wood on the island where our site, well, it wasn't on an island, I guess, but most of the wood around our campsite was pretty wet. It's been raining a lot the last couple of weeks, but we managed to get a pretty good fire going yesterday. We got a really good fire going the first night, and then we got a pretty good fire throughout the day yesterday. Kind of came and went, tried to keep the fire pit warm. Did pretty good. And I think what time did we go to bed last night? About 9 o'clock?
Yeah.
About 9:30 we went to bed. We got up at about 9?
Yeah.
Got up at about 9 this morning and had breakfast. Didn't get a fire going this morning. Everything was just way too wet. Had breakfast and packed up, and I think we were on the water at about 11?
Yeah.
11 o'clock. We were on the water this morning. Over to the portage, just very quick little paddle over to the portage. The 1 kilometer portage from Misty to Little Misty. I think it was an hour and a half from the campsite to the end of the portage. And then a very short paddle to the next portage, which is the 2,400 meter, almost 2.5 kilometer portage from Little Misty up into Queer Lake, which is where we are now. We just came off of that portage. We haven't actually checked the clock yet, but I'm thinking that portage took at least an hour, probably a little more. We just stopped and had lunch on the end of the portage there, and now we're just paddling across Queer Lake. I should say up Queer Lake, where we're going north, up into Little Trout, where we'll stay for the night. And that's where we're at. The interesting thing is that when we got out on the water this morning, it was just the wind was really whipping, and there was just mist in the air. Go figure, Misty Lake. But it was little light rain being blown right in our faces with the wind, and just not the best day. I mean, it wasn't horrible. It wasn't pouring rain, but it was just kind of whipping, misty air. And we got onto the portage, and by the time we got to the other side of that 1 kilometer portage, it was like we had passed through some kind of portal. It was just beautiful. The sun had come out, the clouds had all cleared off, and that's how it's been ever since. It's just beautiful out right now. Clear sky, beautiful blue sky, sun's out, and we're hoping to get to our campsite really quick so we can get as much sunlight time to try and dry all of our stuff out as we can. Hopefully get some clothes and blankets and things dried off. Might even be able to get the tent dried off. That'd be nice. So we're just paddling up Queer Lake to the portage into Little Trout, and I'm hoping within about an hour we'll be an hour and a half, depending on how long it takes us to get to an empty campsite on Little Trout. Hopefully we'll be on a campsite in about an hour and change. So maybe we'll, I got quite a bit of time now left on this, I've still got about half an hour worth of time left on this memory card, so we'll check back in when we get to camp. So, we completed the, a while ago actually, we completed the portage from Queer Lake into Little Trout Lake, so we're now here on Little Trout Lake. And this right here, this is exactly why we do this. Perfect day, beautiful day. Okay, so Monday, right? Right, Monday morning. This is the beauty of being in the woods for 3 or 4 days, is you start to lose track of the days, which is actually kind of one of the best parts of it. We got up at 9 and had breakfast. What? Alright. We got up around 9 and had breakfast and had a small campfire to try and dry a few things out, warm our feet up and whatnot. It's about 11 o'clock now, so we're gonna break down camp, get everything packed up, have lunch, and then get on our way. Hopefully be out to back to the van by about, I'd say about 4 o'clock, maybe 4:30, and head home, which will be another about 3.5 hour drive to home. So we'll hope to get home tonight no later than 8 o'clock, because we both got to work tomorrow morning, which is the most depressing part of the whole camping trip. Having to go back to work the next day after the last day. The last day is the worst day. It's a beautiful day out. It's clear skies, sun's up. It's going to be a beautiful paddle back. And it's just knowing that this is it and we're heading home is sort of the best and worst part. So we'll check back in once we get on the water. Okay, so what time is it now? Is it 1 o'clock?
1, yeah.
It's 1 o'clock and we are just packing up. We're pretty much all packed up. We're just going to load up the canoe and get on the water. Head back. We've got to go. We have pretty much right away. We've got a 400-meter portage, 430-meter portage into Bice Lake, and then a little ways beyond that. It's actually, I shouldn't say a little ways. It's a pretty big paddle. Bice is a pretty big lake, and then I believe a 230 or a 250, something like that, into Hambone, and then the short 130 from Hambone into Magnetawan, and then out. So we're aiming on about 3 hours travel time from here to the van, so we'll see how we do. Okay, so we've just come off the 300 meter portage from Ralph Bice Lake into Hambone. This is Hambone Lake. Quick little pan around here. Still clear blue sky. No, not a cloud in the sky now. Water's perfectly still, barely even a breeze today. Just beautiful, clear paddling. Nice, smooth water, bright sun, nice and warm day. So we're just headed over to the, I think we can see it right from here actually, to the right here. Taking the portage from Hambone into Magnetawan, and then that's the end of the trip. Magnetawan is the dock. So we will check back in when we land on the dock.